So what's the career path of a management consultant? I mean, what's the starting point and where can a management consultant can lead his or her career to?
Sure. So you can actually come all the way up. I believe there's a certain level of managing director and then partner. So what you can do is you start out as like a first year analyst. Some may call all the roles they call them different names based off the company. I'll just give you Accenture. You'll start off as your first year, and this is when you're hopping on projects and you're seeing how everything works, and you may be asked to do small administrative tasks. As you grow and demonstrate that you're able to take on more workload, you begin to grow eventually until you are promoted, and usually that takes about 1 to 2 years minimum for entry level analysts to become next level, and then you can be promoted to consultant. So the difference here is that consultants are more client facing. They're the ones having the conversations with the client, and just depends on the availability, the need, the region, the project, and what you are capable of doing. That's how you can move up and advance. After making to the consultant role where you are client facing but you still report to a few other people that are managing the projects, this takes about 3 years and you can move up into a manager position, and that manager is the one who delegates all the tasks of the project to the consultants, and they will communicate with the client with the other managers of the client side. So the difference here is that as a consultant, you may have 1 to 2 to 3 projects that you're on, and you're working through them, and then as a manager, you're kind of leading those projects, or you're leading the teams that work under those projects, and you work more closely with the client. As you move into senior manager or managing director, this is when you've done so much work that you are now like part of the liaison for the client industry to the firm. So you're very well knowledgeable on the industry. The client knows you well. You've performed lots of work. You've brought lots of tangible results. You've built up a relationship that can be sustainable for many, many years for the firm. And so that's when you become like a managing director. And then everything above that is really just based on how long you've been with the firm. So you can become a client account lead. So that means for the entire company of that client, you can be at the top, the lead for the firm. And then you can also finally move up when you have worked enough hours, when you've climbed up through the ranks. And if you are interested, you can actually have stake in the company. And this is more than just shares. You can actually be a partner of the company. And that's when you kind of sit up with the execs. That's when you're looking at regional decisions. That's when you're looking at decisions for the whole continent. Be like North America, depending on wherever you live. And so but that takes more years and more expertise. So I'd say don't think about becoming partner until you've been in there for about like 15 years, between 12 to 15 years. And that just takes a lot more of who recommendations, and your impact and your relationship with the client. So that's where you can lead. You can become partner of one of the big 4 companies.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. And even I've never seen any partner who is below 50 or 45,
Yeah.
right? So at least like 20 years of experience is definitely required. Great. So, Jessica, my last question for today's webinar is, what are some major 2 to 3 challenges that you have faced as a management consultant and that you would advise candidates to be aware of, and how they can handle it in a proper manner?
Sure. So I would say, oh wow, there are 3 of them. Let's see. The first one for me had to be, I had to learn how to relax a little bit more when it came to deadlines and to work. And I say this because with my work experience and just kind of like with my culture and my ethic, I'm very much, I will do what I say I'm going to do. I don't believe in letting people down. I don't believe in doing anything halfway. No, you need to be on point from the the moment you start working. You need to be dressed, you need to be on time, you need to be ready. And sometimes I can be too serious. So there were, times where I had to realize that, Jessica, life actually happens. For example, I was in a situation where I could not make it to work. And instead of, taking the day off, I still tried to attend meetings via my phone and hop in on Skype. And the major lesson I realized that is that though you have a commitment to the client, you're still human, and basic human needs come first. It's okay to go to the doctor's office. In fact, please go to the doctor's office when you need to. Take that day off, that PTO. I remember working through the holidays because I really wanted our team to advance and be, where we needed to be before we headed into the new year. And it was like, Jessica, like, no, you need to take a few days off around Christmas. It's not that serious. So remember to put yourself first. Take care of yourself, okay? Go to the doctor when you need to. The second one is that you are working with people from different backgrounds, different cultures, and different work ethics. So you have to learn how to assimilate with them and to not offend them and to be respectful. So I say this because, there are people I work with all different demographics when I'm in that room. And I will have people in different countries. We'll have a major team in Philippines and in India, and they're doing back end work. So there's time differences. There are some people who are very much quantitative. They understand the numbers. They understand how to do problem solving and calculations and tech. That's them 100%. Me, I excel, though I'm okay with quantitative. I excel in qualitative. So I'm good with keeping, order, organization, writing, reading, making presentations. I'm really good at all of that. So at times you can definitely see frustration. You can see how teams can become dysfunctional if you have someone whose work ethic is, let's overpromise to the client because we want to make sure they know that we can do what we need to do, versus someone who's like, we're not going to overpromise. In fact, we're going to tell them we need 3 more days. So in case we don't get it done in time, we have enough time to work this through. So I'd like to give like a quick example. We were doing accounting for my client on the finance department. And as the manager, I saw that there were large variances. Basically, certain countries and provinces, they owed several hundred millions of dollars. Their accounting wasn't right. And I remember I had to call Asia, the whole continent, and go through each country and ask them, what do your books say? Because our ledger says you owe us 20 million or 200 million, and you're only coming up with 130 million. Where's the rest? So though that may seem like, that's Jessica, that's your work, I had to be mindful that I'm calling China. And I'm telling China, which, everyone knows, like, they do very well with math and science. So I'm calling you to tell you, you guys didn't do your accounting wrong. Me in America, I'm calling you early in the morning to tell you, you owe me $70 million, and, oh, your auditors just were not right. You have to learn how to phrase that to not offend people, because that's a whole different culture. Though it was a different country, I had to make sure, and thankfully I lived in China, so I knew how to communicate that. But what if you're not in China? You may have someone of a different country sitting with you in the boardroom. You need to be mindful of their culture, their ethic, and be respectful so that you can work cohesively as a team. And I would say the last challenge, I guess, to overcome really was being able to be open when you're talking to a bunch of people over a client dinner. As we mentioned, you get really tired, and at times you just kind of don't want to play anymore, or maybe you don't drink. alcohol. There was a time I was training for a competition and everyone was having wine and champagne and I could not drink because I was training. So, everyone's passing around and they're toasting and I'm like, how can I have the energy and stamina and still respectfully show everyone that, like, I like you guys, cool, and I'm happy to be here, but I can't participate because you can lose points if you don't show up for bowling, or if you show up but you don't bowl. You have to still maintain some energy and find a way to respectfully let everyone know that you're still here, but you just kind of don't want to participate right now. So that's